Well, welcome. Thank you for joining tonight, guys. Today is our first board game night. We're going to take a little break away from our usual production of how to refloor, your apartment basement. We're just going to kind of do board game night. I know it's a little different, but tonight I'm your host, Evan, and we're going to have some fun learning a new game called Blank. We could play this tonight, but I'm going to wait to see if anyone in the chat wants to play a specific game, has a suggestion, any questions, and we'll kind of go from there. But first, I want to kind of cover this new fun game. I myself bought a copy because I love Uno. I love games like Uno. I think they're simple, they're fun. And so when a game like Blank comes along and it's just a better version, different version of Uno with more rules, kind of shakes things up, I love it. I think it's fantastic. And this in particular has a fun twist to it. So how Blank works is you create the game as you play it. Every single time you finish a game and there's a victor, they get to alter what's in the game and how the cards work. So it comes this nice little box, and with two decks, you have your rule deck and the cards you're actually going to play with. These are going to be like your Uno cards. They have colors and numbers, and it's going to have the same rules of Uno, where if you start with the card in the middle of the table, and you can only play cards that either match the color or the number at the top corners, just like Uno. The fun trick to this game, though, is there are rule cards. And out of the rule deck, you start with 3 rules. And I shuffled up the rules right now, and it says if you pick 3, you lay them out, and even if they're blank, that's totally fine. It's a blank rule for the rest of this first game. And the more you play, the more victories, the more this is going to become your unique game. So let's flip these over right now. So Rule 1, Rule 2, and Rule 3. So it looks like we have Rule 2 and Rule 3 are nothing. There's only going to be one rule for this game, which is cool. I'm going to leave them up there just for effect. But this first rule says, let's see, an odd number card is, an if and then to all these rule cards. So it says if an odd number card is played, then it triggers the bottom half of the card, which says the previous player must name the color of the played card. And if the rule is not met, then the player gets a penalty. And the penalty just means you draw a card and place it in your hand. And it works just like Uno. The first person to get their hand size down to 0 wins. So you don't want penalties, or you don't want to draw more cards. You want the least amount of cards in your hand as possible and as quickly as possible. And I think this is so much fun. So because Uno is so simple and anyone can grasp it, and I feel like with Blank, it brings a refreshing new system to how Uno would be played. However, not only do you get to slowly increase the difficulty of the game and also how it's played, and just add either fun effects, wacky effects, maybe make the game more difficult, maybe make the game more easy. It also makes it so that it's your own game. It's like a legacy game in a way, where, let's say at the end of the game, I win, I get my hand size down to 0, I get to pick one of the cards in the discard stack that we played through, or one of the rules, and alter it. So I get to pick like a blank card and write in Sharpie, let's say, if someone plays more than 3 cards a turn, then the next person has to draw a card. I could do that. I could make up literally whatever I wanted. I could say if you hear a cow moo, then draw 5 cards, something silly like that. And just the freedom that this game gives you is really fun. I could also change the blank cards, which is intriguing because inside this deck you'll have stuff like this, where this is a card you'd play, but it still has an effect. So it says, when you play this card, every other player draws 2 cards. It's a really powerful card. And it's not a rule, it's just something that you play with the stack. And I know it's a little hard to see color-wise, so I'm going to bring this down a bit. There we go. That should be a lot better. If it wants to focus. But I obviously can't play by myself, but I think it'd be kind of fun just to go through the deck a little bit and kind of explain and show, if I can, how it works. So every person's going to get a hand of 5. And I'm going to play for 3 players here. We apologize if there's background noise. We have some events going on in the store tonight. So let's go. We're going to leave the blank stack here so people can draw if they get a penalty or anything. So let's go player 1. So this is their hand. And the rule is, like I said, you have to play a card that's the same color or number. However, unlike Uno, you aren't limited to just playing 1 card. You can play as many as you want as long as it fits the rule of the stack. So I'm going to try to do this in a sneaky way. Let's see. I'm going to play a 2, a 5, a purple 5, and then a purple 3. And then player 1 only has 1 card left in his hand. Just to explain how this works. So it's fun because it comes with an illustration, but there's no rule yet. But so orange fits with orange, so I get to play that. And then orange fits with orange. This 5 fits with this 5. And then the purple fits with purple. And this was my turn. And let's say, like that volcano card that we showed earlier, where when you play a card, every other person has to draw 2 cards, you only use the effect of the top card on the stack. So if all of these cards that I played had rules, they wouldn't go off because they are inside the stack, not on the top. So only this purple number 3's rule would trigger. Now in this case, there's no rule. So I'm done. Player 1's done for the round. Then we go to player 2. Let's look at their hand. Okay. Probably not going to be as big of a turn. But all we'll do, we'll just play these 2 cards. We'll play a purple that matches purple, and then we'll put another purple that matches purple, and this one does have a rule. So it says search the discard pile. Oh, here, let me put it up to the camera. It says search the discard pile for a card of your choice. Play it immediately with no penalty. So that's kind of cool. I would go through here and I'd find another card that maybe has a cool ability. In this case, there's nothing. So probably what this player would want to do is keep this card, but just for showing off the game tonight, we'll just keep it right there. So player 2 is done. Let's go to player 3. Let's see what player 3's got. No cards with rules, but let's see what we can do. Oof, not a whole lot. So it looks like in this case, can only play a 6 with the 6. So turning the card stack colored to red. And that's it. So at the end of this turn, we have 1, 3, and 4. Now let's see rules, which I forgot, which is perfect because we'll use it as an example. So it says if an odd number card is played, then the previous player must name the color of the card. Now, a little not really able to do in this case because I'm just playing by myself. So, when I play the 3, I'm the only player. So I guess I'd say play 3, and then I'd have to say purple. And if player 1 didn't say purple when I played that 3, they would have to draw a card. So we'll just go through one more time just to kind of sink it in. Because just like Uno, if you can't play a card, then you draw a card. So back to player 1's turn. Let's see. So he drew a blue card. So in this case, he's got nothing to play. So he draws a card and ends his turn. Player 2 also can't play anything. It looks really similar. This is a red and that's a pink. So we're going to draw a card, end turn. Let's see. And draw a card and end turn. Let's see what this one says. You now have 2 minutes to finish the game. Players with the fewest cards wins. That's kind of fun. So if I were to be able to play it whenever this card is played, then this rule goes into effect. So someone would have to whip out a timer, put on a 2-minute timer, and that is when it's done. And if no one wins by I guess it says players with the fewest cards win. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, this game I think it's just super fun. It's cheap and just brings a whole lot of flavor to the table. And there's just cards, just so many empty cards that you can edit and make your own. I'd say after a lot of playing, even after 1 to 3 games, this is going to be your copy. Whatever rule you decide to put down, whether you make it silly or if you're trying to be serious with the rule that you're making. That's why I really like this game, is that it's yours and you can kind of keep on playing it with your friends or family as the years go on by, and you can always create this to kind of fit your play style. So I love this idea, and I'm hopefully gonna play this a lot with some friends and family.